Growing zinnias is very easy, and some of you might be able to sow your zinnia seed directly in your garden, and they will grow by themselves, they will bloom beautifully, and some of you might have them reseed in your garden and bloom again the following year without doing anything at all. If that is you, congratulations. But some of you, might be wondering how come your zinnias are not as bold, as double, as big, as giant as my zinnias. How come the color of your zinnias are not as beautiful, as whimsical, as unique as my zinnias? So in this video, I am going to share with you all my secrets how to grow beautiful zinnias. Okay, and the first secret is to get the cut flower specialty zinnia seeds. Okay, pay a little bit more money to get these specialty seeds. I love buying zinnia seeds from Johnny's because they are reliable, they have high germination rate, and they have specialty cut flowers variety, which is going to be double and big and bold for you. There are 50 seeds in one packet, and this cost me around $5 to $6. And here's the real deal, floret zinnias. The price is $19 to $20, okay, per packet. But look at the color, so beautiful, and this is my most important secret. Look at this one. Oh. But don't be worried because you don't have to spend that much money because they are not selling the seed this year. This I have from last year and some of my flower friends sent them to me. Thank you so much. But if you want to save a little bit of money, you can buy zinnia seed from a garden center that is close to your home, okay? But look at the description or the title of the seed. Make sure it has the word saying like giant, double, okay, as big as possible. Sometimes they say, the size of the bloom. Make sure it's like 5 inches or 4 inches, as big as possible. Some of them are not big, but they have unique color, which is worth growing, like this Persian carpet and Marsuakia. And when you grow expensive specialty zinnias, you don't want to lose any of the seeds because they are expensive unless you are a millionaire, okay? So I recommend starting them inside about 4 weeks before your last frost, before there will be no chance of frost in your area, okay? You can sow them in this cell tray, which is recommended for beginners because it's very easy to do. I'm gonna show you how. But if you grow them in here, make sure that you transplant them as soon as they are like about this big, okay? Because you don't want them to get root bound. And when they get root bound, the root will hug itself and they will have hard time spreading the roots in the garden later. And then they will struggle and they will not produce beautiful bloom. And you have to transplant them very gently too. You can also broad sow them in a tray like this. Just put the potting mix here and then sow the seed here, or in a to-go container like this. But you have to be careful when you separate the seedlings. You have to be very, very gentle. Also, you should separate the seedling when they are still young, when they have one set of 2 leaves, okay? If they're older than that, they're gonna have hard time separating from each other because you can hurt the roots. And when you hurt the roots of your zinnias, they're not gonna be happy. And that's why I prefer soil blocking, because I don't wanna be worried that I would disturb the root when I transplant my zinnia into the garden. And also I can avoid root bound. If I use this, they can get root bound if I don't transplant them fast enough. And my recipe is to use Miracle Grow, the yellow potting mix one. And a little bit of perlite to improve the aeration in the soil block, about 1/10. Also about 1/10 of vermiculite. The vermiculite will help your soil fluffy, and water. This is just a cheap storage box. You don't have to buy any fancy gardening tool that, people try to get you to buy them online. Ideally, you want the mix to be like a pudding. If it's not moist enough, you can add more water. You want your soil to be like this. See, like water come out. This is a little too dry, see? You might add some more water if it's dry like this. I get this perlite and vermiculite from Amazon. I buy them in big bag because it saves me so much money doing this way. You can buy in a little bag like this, but this is like $14. If you buy big bag, you can get a lot for your bag, okay? I also get soil blockers from Amazon. I can put the link in the description too. Last year, I started my Zinnia a little early, so I sow them in this bigger cell soil blocker because I don't want them to get root bound. And I already tell you why, right? But this year I'm a little bit behind or maybe on schedule. So I am going to just sow them in a little bit soil blocker, and I am pretty confident that I can transplant them in about 3 weeks. So they are not going to get root bound by the time that I transplant them in the garden. Our soil is ready. You can see it's like dung dung. It's like dung dung, like a pudding. Just press it, press it. And it's gonna look like this, pretty tight and firm. Now put it here. Lift it. Ta-da! Ta-da! I have learned that I should give a little bit of space between each row because the root can grow into each other between the blocks. And we don't want that to happen because it defeats the purpose of soil blocking. And I used to be a perfectionist on making soil blocking. I want to make sure that every block is like even and perfect and square. Then I realized that at the end of the day, we just need to put the seed in the soil and we should not, stress over about perfection. Usually I sow about 2 seeds per block because just in case that some of them don't germinate. But this year I am going to sow 1 seed per block because for Zinnias, she's not selling and I want to save the seed for myself as much as possible. And also, again, some of the seeds are very expensive. I don't want to waste the seed. And also, if there are 2 seeds that germinate in the same block, I have to thin them out later. And thinning is such a painful process. Another secret to grow beautiful and healthy and strong Zinnia is to give them enough sunlight, at least 6 hours per day. So let's say if you have to stay on that growing location, you need to wear sunglasses at least 6 hours and you should wear sunscreen, otherwise you get sunburned. That's the amount of sunlight that our Zinnias need to produce beautiful bloom. And after I transplant my baby Zinnias, I give them very, very deep water to glue the roots to the soil, to make sure that the soil hug the roots of our babies. That's very important. And after that, I watered them about once a week. Okay, and if that week I have a lot of rain, I don't water them at all. And in summer, when the temperature reaches to 80 degrees Fahrenheit, that's when I start watering them about twice a week. And in a very hot summer week, I sometimes water them about 3 times a week. You can also give them a lot of compost and a thick leaf of mulch that will help retain the water in the soil. And when you do that, you might not have to water them 3 times a week in a very hot summer week, okay? Another secret too is also give them enough nutrient. I use organic mushroom compost. I just dump the compost on that location and then I mix with the soil a little bit. I also add some organic granulated fertilizer. I use Epsoma flower tone, okay? It's important that we use flower tone, not vegetable tone, not garden tone. It has to be flower tone because it has a lot of phosphorus. And the next secret to grow beautiful big zinnia is to give them enough space. Enough space in my term, I mean about at least 6 inches to about 12 inches apart, okay? Because when you give them enough space, they can extend their roots, have more room, and then they can take a lot of nutrient to the plant and then use that nutrient to produce beautiful big bloom. If you plant them too close to each other, they are going to compete for nutrient, and that's when they can, suffer a little bit. Not suffer, they're gonna produce smaller bloom because they don't have a lot of nutrient. Also, when you leave some space between each plant, you are going to allow the air to flow through in your flower row, in your flower bed, and when that happens, it will prevent powdery mildew, which is the #1 enemy of our zinnias, especially in late summer. This is some kind of fungus that covers the leaves, the stems, sometimes the flowers, and when this dusty, powdery cover the leaves of the plant, it will block the sunlight to the plant. And remember, zinnias need a lot of sunlight, so they are going to really suffer with powdery mildew. And that leads to the next secret is to cut them very hard, okay? Because if you don't cut them very hard, they are going to be too crowded and also too tall. So when they are too crowded, it will block the air circulation in the row, right? And that leads to powdery mildew. And also, if they are too tall, they are going to flop all over the place, and you don't want that to happen at all. So cut them very hard, be brutal with them. And here's how I cut my zinnias. In the first flush, that means the first time when they bloom, I cut them about maybe half of the height of the plant, just to reduce the size, and then they are going to send out side branches and produce more bloom. But when the second and the third and the fourth flush, the plants are going to be very big and very tall. That's when I cut them about 2/3 of the plants just to reduce the size so they don't flop and also create air circulation. And the next secret is to pinch out zinnias when you can see that there are about 2 or 3 sets of true leaves, or when you see that they are producing like little side branches at the first joint of the plant. You pinch the top of it, and doing that, you're telling our babies to send energy to the side branches instead of the top branch, like the main plant, okay? And when they have more side branches, they will produce more flowers because each branches is going to be, stem of flowers. And another secret, after the zinnias bloom, you want to wait a little bit for the flowers to be mature, to be fully open before you harvest them. It's not like cosmos or sunflowers or roses that you are going to cut them when they are about to open. For zinnias, you want them to be like fully open and then you cut them. That's when you get the most vibrant color and the biggest bloom. This is 3 years old seed and it's very cheap. So I am going to put more than 1 seed in 1 block. Just want to make sure that, they germinate. Because sometimes old seed don't germinate very well. The goal for growing Zinnia for me this year is to breed my own culinary garden series. So at the end of the season, I can harvest the seed and then I can give away to you guys who are lucky enough to get my culinary garden Zinnia seeds, that I breed them with my heart and with my soul, and I want to, spread out the beauty to other people in this world. So the first variety that I am trying to accomplish is going to be all the giant varieties. So I use some of the florid giant Zinnias, and of course the Binary Giant series from Johnny Seed, and also the brand new variety from Johnny Aurora. So hybridize all these color of the giant Zinnias together. I am trying to get the color that is like fruity color, something like pink, salmon, punch, peach, a touch of orange, a touch of yellow, and a touch of green. So it's gonna be like very fruity color. And I am going to name this variety Fruity Patootie. Okay? And the second variety I am trying to breed is going to be called Canary Bubblegum. And this group is going to be all kinds of ball-shaped Zinnia, something like Oklahoma, and also the unicorn from Florida, and the Victorian wedding from Florida. And also I add some Queenie series into this tray too. So it adds, the color variation into the plant, the seed, okay? And I am trying to accomplish rainbow color. So this is gonna be a fun one. And the last tray here is just for myself. I'm sowing all kinds of the Canary Garden Zinnia seed that I collect from last year and the previous year. And I coat each packet with the number. So when this flower bloom, I can, take note here and document here how the flowers come out from my breeding project. I am sowing this Zinnia in cell tray because I am going to sell seedlings to my local customer at a flower stand on Mother's Day. And, my customer wouldn't be able to take the soil block. It's going to be a mess. So this one, transport better. Also, these trays are bigger than the block and they will not get root bound by Mother's Day, which is 1 month away, not 3 weeks away. I have some soil left here, so I am going to sow marigold here. And I am use the broad sowing technique because marigold is different to Zinnias. A lot easier to separate, to transplant, so I don't have to do the soil blocking, which takes a lot of time. So you can technically just, spread the seed onto the tray on the soil, and then you are going to separate them later when you pot them up or when you transplant them. You can use this technique for all kinds of flowers. Sprinkle them a little bit of vermiculite. Doing this, I make sure that the seed attached to the soil, and it will also help retain moisture in the block. This will also help prevent algae and mold that can grow on the surface of the blocks. I am going to spray this because I want to be super sure that the seed attached to the soil. The water will act as a glue that will attach everything together. Actually, I'm going to cover the marigold seed a little bit with the potting mix. I feel so bad for this marigold because they don't get special treatment. I just cover with the potting mix instead. I'm gonna cover it with plastic wrap to increase the humidity, which is very important for germination. But don't seal it, okay? Don't press the plastic right on the soil because germination also need oxygen. So I'm gonna just cover it, okay? Don't tap. This one can be tough. Yeah, just like that. Two days later, the brand new seed from Johnny would of course have better germination rate. Almost every seed germinate in just 2 days. This is Johnny seed too and flowered. Fruity patootie! Aww. To have your Zinnia seed germinated fast like this, you need the soil temperature to be around 70 degree to 75 degree Fahrenheit. I use heat mat because it's so much more organized, but you can put your tray on top of a radiator or a heater at your house. Just do whatever to make sure that the soil is around 70 degree Fahrenheit and up. And also you need to provide humidity to this seed, okay? Use the plastic wrap like me or humidity dome or whatever you can find. And this is not just about have your seedling grow fast, but also for not having your seeds sit in a wet soil, okay? Because wet soil can rot your seed first, and second, they can be a perfect environment for the mold and algae to grow on your potting mix. And when that happens, it can slow down the growth of your seedling, okay? But you have to turn off the heat mat and remove the plastic wrap or the humidity dome as soon as half of your seeds have germinated. Otherwise, your soil will get algae and mold because it's too humid. And also your seedling needs fresh air to breathe, okay? They cannot sit in that dome forever. Please don't do that to them. And again, Zinnias needs a lot of light to be strong, to be bold, and produce beautiful big bloom. And that starts from since they are seedlings. So you have to give them light as if they are outside under direct full sun. Some of you guys might say that why don't just direct sow the seed outside and then they get direct full sun. It doesn't work for me because the birds or whatever will come to eat the seed immediately after I sow them. And if they survive, the bird or the mice, slug and snail will come to eat the baby seedling because that is so delicious for the slug and the snail. They love it so much. So I am growing them inside because of these reasons. So I make sure that my seedling is right underneath below the grow light, not even 1 inch. If they grow taller, I just lift up the grow light a little bit just to make sure that they are so close to the grow light. And I put the grow light on timer 14 hours per day. Okay, and if you are interested to buy this shelf or buy the heat mat or buy the grow light, I will put the link in the description. You can order from Amazon. In terms of watering, I have no watering schedule at all. I just let my soil blocks or the cell tray to be almost completely dry. Then I will water them and give them enough water for the whole block to be like moist. And then I'll let them dry and then water them again. I might provide them liquid fertilizer, just a little bit if they struggle to grow, but that's never happened to me. But some of you guys might use the potting mix that doesn't have, fertilizer built in. That's when you're probably going to feed them a little bit because, they're demanding for nutrients. All right, so we'll keep doing this until the temperature outside has no more chance of frost. Then you bring the tray outside, give them half day sun for them to be trained to be in the field, because you don't want to plant them immediately in the garden under direct full sun, direct full wind and the rain, because they can get chalk. And that's all my secrets. I promise you, that's all my secrets. I don't have online course, I don't have anything. I just give it all to you for free in this video. I also have made 2 videos how to grow Zinnia from seed to bouquets, like the entire process with more details. If you are interested, you can check out these 2 videos, okay? Alright, thank you so much for watching. Bye bye.